Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Brown and Lovey podcast. My name is Sibi. I'll be your host. We got a special guest in the building for y'all today. If I was to describe him, he's somebody that embodies a passion for life. I'm going to say endless curiosity, a relentless work ethic, and I might even add, for the uninitiated, a bit of an enigma.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about that. This is alter ego for the gaming universe. Yes. We're going to get into it. Emerson Joekumar, everybody. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much, bro.
So I Googled you, and the first thing that popped up was Flux Lighting.
Yes.
So let's start with, what are you doing at Flux Lighting?
As a technical specification sales, I'm able to go into different projects that architects, engineers, interior designers, even end user clients are working on, and be able to provide a full package of lighting controls, and blinds, emergency solutions, all tying into their space, not only on good design, but also to meet energy codes, building codes, engineering standards, and just industry standards as well.
If we were to ask younger Emerson that this is the industry and this is the type of work he'd be doing, is that something that was on the game plan?
Yeah, no, younger Emerson would be like, what is a lighting agency, and what is that whole about? Because it's a very niche industry, very niche market, but it's so essential to just every day. Even the lighting setup that we have here going on, everything in a space is affected by lighting, right? Good lighting isn't always recognized, but when it's poor situations and poor lighting and poor controls, all of a sudden people are just complaining left and right. There's issues, headaches, migraines, different health detriment.
Kind of like IT. When something doesn't work, it's like, what the fuck do these guys do?
Big uproar. That's exactly it, right? It's, again, easily taken for granted, but quickly a detriment when it doesn't go well.
The amount of different things you say yes to really intrigues me.
Right?
Like, where does that endless curiosity come from for you?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. With the upbringing, it's, this focus on school, focus on your grades, focus on your career and whatnot. But there was always that side of what else is out there. Is everything that we know about life just school and work, and that's it, kind of moving through the stages that are kind of set out for you. And that's where, at a younger age, it's just like, try new things, try and get into different hobbies, learn something new out of it, invest time into it. And it could be the most random hobby. Like I would, at one point I had, I think like 17 aquariums at home. And people thought I was nuts, and I probably was nuts, but it was just trying to understand different biosystems, different topologies, what fish and what aquatics, invertebrates come from different parts of the world, how they coexist, what are their mating routines, what are water levels, and try to really, learn and experiment and try different things with that, and then go into a different hobby of photography and what goes behind that, how you conceive a picture, what kind of compositions to look out for, what are the visual aesthetics, the rule of thirds, so many different things behind it, and really trying to maximize every experience that you can have, right? And that went with everything. So that went with relationships, that went with friendships, that went with hobbies, that went on the career side. It's like, the more you put into something is the more you get out of it.
Was home a place where you had the freedom to try different things and, explore all these different creative areas?
I've been blessed in many ways, and continuously have been, to have such phenomenal parents who are completely understanding of my interests, right? So going into school, I got into playing sports, and obviously that's not a big priority in at home, right? It's going to affect the grades. So for them to be like, hey, we support you, we're going to take you to practice, pick you up and bring you back, and then, get your homework done when you can. Very supporting parents. Completely blessed in that sense. Not everyone has that upbringing, but nonetheless, very strict on, focus on school first, focus on your grades first, everything else is second. So, it was a lot of just over time showing them that, grades are important, school is important for sure to a degree. And it's, it's more than, there's more to life than just that though.
I talk a lot about, the fact that it's our responsibility to set up our future generations for success, placing a same amount of emphasis on, I don't know if re-educating is the right word, but but giving that same amount of love and energy and care and attention to our parents and the previous generation as well.
It's very important to find mutual interests or creating interests where you both can share memories with and whatnot too. One of the cool things my brother does is he gets my parents that they're retired now, and he gets them puzzles, and they sometimes go and work on these puzzles together. So to see them have that interaction together, and with his dog Teddy and whatnot with our parents too, it's a very like important moment, I think. And then from my end, I've been very fortunate in this time in my life to show my parents some parts of the worlds that I've been to and traveled to. And then, they've found joy in it, right? Like we go camping together, we go, different hikes and whatnot that I know that they can do and capable of. I've taken my parents to see the Milky Way for the first time last year, blew their mind. Right, just showing them a bajillion stars in the sky. They had so many questions. They're like, "Well, those are all stars." I'm like, "Yeah, each one has its own planetary system, right?" And they're like, just mind blown, right? Shooting stars. They lost their mind. They're like, "What? What is all this?" Right? So to be able to kind of give back to them on the experiences that I've experienced, and I've been fortunate enough to go out and venture on, I kind of give back to them in some way, which is really a blessing for sure.
Because the parent-child relationship, it's also a relationship, right? And I think there's growth there too. And I think far too often we get kind of stuck. There's everything you need to know about me, and there's everything I need to know about you, and then it kind of fizzles out, right? But I love that you bring the same level of curiosity again to your relationships with your parents, where you're always like, right? Like you guys are exploring and trying different things. And I think that builds your relationship in different ways. It's very special.
It's a relationship you got to constantly work on, as with everything, all in every time.
Give me the top 2 or 3 situations that you've been in the most uncomfortable positions in.
First one that came to mind was scuba diving. And scuba diving, I ended up getting my open water diver certification last summer through COVID, and went through a great organization in Ottawa and great instructor as well. One of the exercises they made me do that I, to this day, don't enjoy and don't really ever really want to do it again if I don't have to, it's called a mask recovery. You go down to the lowest point they get you at. I was around 30 feet or so. And being bottom down there with your mask, your regulator, your tank, your everything, they make you take your mask off entirely. And I have contacts in, so I close my eyes. In utter darkness, 30 feet under the water, you take your mask off, and you're supposed to breathe normally through your mouth. Not through your nose, through your mouth. So your body is fighting itself, because your norm is to breathe through your nose, especially when your eyes are closed. Your senses are nerfed, right? So now you're forcing your body, training it to breathe through the mouth, breathe out the mouth, not through your nose, and being calm and still under 30 feet of water. So very, very uncomfortable situation. Very, like, everything about me, my body, my mind, my lungs, everything just didn't enjoy that, right? But willing to do it, willing to learn it. I did it time and time again. So yeah, situations like that really make you, question everything right? Like your equilibrium state. We're so used to being on land, on our 2 feet. All of a sudden you have fins, you have supplemental oxygen, you have all of these new parameters you're accounting for. Your buoyancy is all over the place. Gravity has a completely different feel, right? So everything I thought I knew as a norm and established that, I know this stuff. Underwater, it changed my world.
That's incredible, bro. The other story that I think is really cool is you guys going to that bodybuilding competition.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was, again, a new challenge, and shout outs to Harson for joining me on that venture. But
Harson, for those that don't know, one of the clowns in our circus. No, just a really great friend, a childhood friend that we grew up with. So yeah, shout out Harson.
Shout out Harson. I think it's a great bonding thing that we had to go through the whole prep together. Hold each other accountable on our diet, on our training together, filming, photographing that experience, traveling together, going there. Man, the weird stuff, man. I've never in my life had to shave my legs before and forearms. But when you're that lean, your hairs on your body, especially being a brown guy, take away from all the definitions, all the muscle fibers, striations, vascularity. So it's better for you to shave your legs or wax legs and arms as you're stepping on stage. And that was a first for me. I was like, this is like the wind blowing. It was shivers, man. I was like, what is happening, right? And then going there, and this lady is like, hey, you'll need to get a spray tan, like at least a couple coatings. And I'm like, are we looking at the same person here? And she's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. And it's better for you to get on stage when the lighting hits in a certain way. It shows more of the details and more of your hard work. And that year was one of the best years I've had in terms of progress. I pushed myself on in many ways in training hard, being super strict with my diet, and it just all those things that lead up to that on a value side, on a principle side, on a character building side. I think those are the things that I can take from that experience on top of everything else, all the memories and whatnot, and then transfer that into everyday life. Right into my, again, career, relationships, investments, whatever it may be. One of the other ones is on the travel side, solo mountain hikes. Man, you will learn a lot about who you are, what your limitations are, what your willpower is. If you have any injury, how you're gonna maybe mend it, fix it, whatever, adapt through it. Weather changes. Food, rationings, planning, scheduling. I did a mountain out in Vermont, very underprepared. I brought the right attire for it, for the most part. I didn't get enough food and I didn't get enough water. And being the videographer guy I am, I brought all my camera gear instead. So I'm lugging like 30 pounds of camera gear with like no water, no food, going up a mountain, trying to get all the shots along the way, solo hiking it all the way. Midway through the mountain, it starts to rain. They give me a map where it was made of paper. It just starts deteriorating in the rain. I'm like, okay, no map. Great. I'll just follow the existing trails. End up taking a wrong detour that led somewhere else entirely. Got lost for an hour.
Getting lost on a hike is the most frightening fucking...
And there's no cell service. There's nothing. So it's all on you to come back to find your way up. Came back, found that the hike actually led through some boulders that you need to climb over. There's no indicators at all, but I saw another person go up and I'm like, okay, so that has to be the way. Go up that way, get almost to the summit, almost to the top, and all of a sudden it goes from a late summer, nice sunny day into freezing rain. Just cold rain, just drenched. People are running down the mountain. They just want to get out of the rain, get out of the storm. I haven't summited yet. And I'm like, I didn't come this far not to summit this mountain. So now, it's tanking it. It's putting on the extra layers that you need to put on for rain protection, still carrying the 30 pounds of camera gear, completing the mountain, completing the hike. And I did a mountain before that, the day before. So everything is on you. Yeah. So it really, you push your willpower, you push your limits, you push everything. And to be better prepared was one of those lessons that I took from that experience for the future.
For sure. Yeah. Like those moments where you're just like, you're questioning your existence.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
What is the internal monologues, the self-talk? Yeah. What are you telling yourself in those moments?
Yeah. It's really turning that focus away from that negative thought that keeps coming in. Turn that focus. Right? Switch that focus into, I can do this. One more step. I can see I think there's a turn right there. You're setting yourself up to succeed than to fail. So it's, hey, I think if I turn this fail, I think I'm a bit closer. A little bit more this way. I think I'm a bit closer, right? And it's like you keep pushing yourself ever so little by little to the point where all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, I'm up here.
If something's happening, right? Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? If you just switch the 2 to a 4, why is this happening for me?
That's brilliant, yeah.
If we can break it down into those small little tracks, those self-talk things that you can switch, I think it goes a long way.
Big time.
Right?
Big
When
time.
you're asking why is this happening for me,
Yeah.
it's a very different
Very
perspective.
different.
Right?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Shout out to Arun, my brother-in-law.
Yo, Arun,
Made it to the summit of Kilimanjaro.
big shout out. Big
Incredible.
respect.
Yeah.
That was
Amazing.
super inspirational. And to me,
Yeah.
I'm fired up from just watching
Yeah?
him conquer
Yeah.
that. He's been training for that for like years
he's,
now.
He's putting a lot of work for it.
Man, respect. To me, like anyone who's obviously goal setting, right? Setting like any sort of goal, whatever it may be, it doesn't have to be a huge Kilimanjaro hike, but it can be, right? And then just actively working towards that goal is respect. Like when we talk about progress, right? We talk about what do you define as someone who's progressing? To me, like doesn't matter if that magnitude, it could be a 180 change or it could be drastic or it could be minute. It's still progress nonetheless to one step being closer to their goal and their dream. And
Yeah.
I respect that, man.
It's awesome,
That's it fired me up. I was so motivated.
Yeah. No, it's great.
I love that.
You are the top 5 people that you're surrounded by. What's your take on it?
Facts. When people say, you've probably heard this, I'm a product of my environment, right? What does that mean, right? Were you born and all of a sudden you're in an environment of people, of culture? Yeah, to a degree. But then who you choose and what you choose to believe and what your values are from you, right? So the environment then becomes a product of you, right? So if you choose to be ambitious, driven, trying to make a difference, trying to make a change, you will naturally attract and have those people around you that are to some degree trying to do the same. I know in a part of my life, there was a circle that I was part of where I was just like, it was a very rude awakening for me and for the friends at the time too, where it's just like, I didn't feel like I was going anywhere. There's more to life than just what I know. And then that was a very humbling experience being like, I don't know it all. Or what I know isn't all of it. Now you start opening up branches to people, to experiences, to environments that are, hey, I can learn from this. I can get motivated from this. I can be inspired by this. I can ask and get information from this. And all of a sudden, my friend circle changed, and then reinforced relationship with you guys, and was like people of similar values, similar traits, similar ambitions, similar drives, similar mindsets, right? And that's where the friend circle shifted, relationships were different, and it's just, like the conversations, the memories, the moments, everything changed. And to me, I would say it changed for the better.
Good on you for recognizing it and acting on it, right? Because far too often, I think people just want to play nice. This is what I know. This is what feels comfortable. Yeah. I want to, I want to play nice and I want to be a nice guy and I'm just going to kind of stick with it. But I don't think people understand the downstream impacts of that, right? Back into, you got 24 hours in a day. How do you choose to spend it? Who do you choose to spend it with?
I think people are afraid of losses and failures, but I think they also have a fear in what if it works? Like, what if I leave them and I'm better and I'm different? I think there's a fear in that too. What if I succeed? The new me is a change and they're scared of that. Right? And that goes with people when they're going to go for maybe ask for a raise, right? That goes for people maybe, like trying to better themselves in training and health, right? That can go for even traveling abroad. Like, man, to get on a plane and go abroad and like do these things, what if I do that and then now I need to do more of that, or I need to go and experience new things and whatnot? What if I start, setting a new standard for myself in terms of training? All of a sudden, you have now people, for me, have an expectation that I have a 6-pack year round, and I lift this much weight year round, right? The expectation changes, right? And for yourself, your bar changes, right? Your standards change in turn, right? And people are afraid of that.
It's a fear of needing to process new and different emotions, feelings, thought processes. It's all different, right? And I think that's what we need to teach our kids to fall in love with, right? Is that thought process and that feeling of being uncomfortable, is a great thing. It needs to be celebrated, you know, because you're right. So even our friend that we were talking about recently, where it's just like that level of success came so naturally to them. Yeah. And at one point, because they haven't learned how to build the skill of becoming successful in new and different situations, you shut down. You don't know how to process that.
Revert back into what's comfortable, what is familiar, what you know.
Yeah.
Right. And even though what you know might not be typically what's good for you, you still stick to it because it's a comfort.
Right.
Yeah. Right. It's a very defense mechanism of just, hey, I'm in my comfort zone. Yeah. Right. I don't want to change for the better. And that kind of goes to a lot of health things too, right? Mm-hmm. Unless people have a rude awakening of ending up in the hospital with high blood pressure, cholesterol, heart conditions, heart disease, whatever it may be, they're like, yeah, I'm fine now. Yeah. I'm good. Yeah. Right.
And then even when they know that, like, because a lot of people will say that. They'd be like, hey, until that happens, I don't need to do anything.
You need to worry about it. I'll worry about it tomorrow, right? Or when the day comes, right? Right. And then that's where, it's really, as people who are conscious, we need to be aware of not just the short-term picture, but on the long run, right? I talk a lot about preemptive care, right? When we talk about health specifically, like what are you doing actively every day to better your future? And that can go specifically into your health, specifically into your, if your career is a main priority, your family, your relationships. What are you actively doing every single day, right? To better your odds, better your future, right? Shit's going to happen in life. Bad things will happen in life, right? But a bad thing could happen when you're unprepared or poorly prepared, or a bad thing could happen when you're better prepared. Which odds do you want to go with, right? And that's what I like to really embed into a lot of people is better your situation. You have a lot of power of your environment. Your choices are limitless, right? So every day, what are you doing? How do you wake up? What do you put in your body, right? What do you like? And what I mean by putting in your body is not only what you're eating and consuming, but what are you reading, right? What information are you taking in through your ears? Like, what are you putting into your mind, right? And really, what are you working towards in there? If your end goal is a full life where you want to, enjoy it with your partner, enjoy it by yourself, enjoy it with your kids, whatever it may be, do you really want to be 50 and stuck in a hospital bed with medications? Yeah. Do you really want to be in a situation where, you're homeless, broke, all these things that could possibly happen from different life circumstances? Or do you want to better your situation by actively investing into yourself every single day? Yeah. And it's important.
I think it comes down to controlling what you can control, right? Yeah. Or acting on what you can actually control. And I think the larger picture here is, at least for me, a lesson learned, or maybe a more recent in the last couple of years, a change in kind of the way I think about life is having the humility to understand that there are a lot of things that I don't have control over. I'm not negating that. Yeah. That's there. Yeah. I absolutely know. In fact, most of life is just, we're coasting through with fucking great karma, right? Like, I get that, that humbles me, that grounds me. For sure. But that helps me double down on the fact that, hey, there's a part of life that I can control. Yeah. I'm going to make the most damn use out of that. Perfect. Right? I don't think anybody can debate the role that health plays in living a happy and a fulfilled life. Most people understand that, right? It's important. The difference between strategy and execution, right? The difference between knowing and acting on it. What's your advice for folks who, understand the importance that health plays in their life, just can't get to that first step?
So I'll hit you with the question is, what was your first step when we started training together? What goal did I have for you when in the first 3 weeks of training together?
Yeah. The first thing I remember you told me was show up. Here's the time. Here's the place. Just show up.
That's it.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Yeah. Right. The very, very fundamental thing is just starting, right? Just showing up to whatever it may be. If you like lifting weights, if you wanted to ever strengthen your muscles and joints and whatnot, just show up. And you don't have to go for 2 hours. You don't have to go for an hour. Start with 30 minutes, right? Get in there. do a couple exercises you found online, whatever it may be, whatever activity it may be, in terms of just physical, right? Going for a walk. Yeah, huge step forward, right? Do that regularly, right? 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, work your way up. Do you enjoy swimming? Full body workout. Swimming is an intense workout. You love doing it? Great. Great for your joints, easy to do. Start with that. So whatever activity it may be, sports, could be going for a stroll, could be biking, could be whatever it may be. All it takes is to start and keep going. Don't just start and stop. Being like, oh man, my muscles are sore 2 days after, 3 days after, 4 days, my muscles are sore. Good. Good. That's what it takes for change. Keep going. Keep going.
And baby steps, right? I remember when we were doing it, and I was just like, at every moment, it's just like, and I really appreciated that bunch, bro. Like I think you're a natural coach. You're really great at it. And it's like when you, some of those weights when I can't quite hit it, right? But it's having that leeway to be like, okay, baby steps. You know what I mean? Progress is progress, like we talked about, right?
You're changing your habits. You're changing your lifestyle. It's going to be hard, right? But once you start sticking to it, 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, all of a sudden you're like, man, I need this. I need this every day, or I need this every other day, or I need this many times a week. It becomes habitual, right? We're creatures of habit, and we get used to it. And all of a sudden you're investing this much time per week into your health, well-being. And it in turn pays off every single time, right? It's one of those beautiful investments that you'll always get a return.
For those folks that have started solid 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and then the motivation, everything just kind of comes down, right? In fact, I think that's most people. Everybody starts something and they can't quite stick with it. Thoughts, advice for how to be consistent with what you're doing.
So this is where there's a big difference from motivation to discipline, right? Motivational, inspirational things are very temporary, set on emotion. Emotion is not consistent, right? So once you base on your goals, your health, everything on a motivational, inspirational basis, it's not going to last. So everyone that's starting off, I would say, is start creating a structure for yourself. So once you start getting in, being like, I can commit to 3 days a week. Fine, great. That's great. 2 days a week, fantastic, right? Try to create that schedule and stick to that schedule. Once you start creating a plan and a structure towards this, you start creating a discipline for it. You start embedding it into your everyday, your every week, your every month. Now you start relying on your discipline, which is consistent on a structured basis, rather than motivation, which one day, oh man, I feel great. I slept X amount of hours a day. I woke up perfect. I had a great day at work. I'm going to come in and I'm going to have a great session. Next few days, next few weeks are rough. What are you going to do? Right? Discipline will get you through what you tell yourself you can't do.
And it's also I think it's also understanding what keeps you accountable, because everybody's accountability scenario is different, right? For me, it again comes back down to those self-talks, right? For me, it was like, I don't want to look a certain way. I want to feel a certain way, right? So it was a slight switch. I'm not going to bank my happiness on how I look, because that's not what motivates me, right? That's not right. And it's awesome for those, like, if that is it, if that's what's going to keep you disciplined and accountable, amazing, right? But for me, it's doing that self-work to understand what actually will keep me disciplined. And it's the feeling. Now I bank my happiness on that feeling right after I'm done. That's my win. That's my check.
Find out why you're doing it, and then creating a structure and then following that structure. And that's going to 100% be more consistent than any motivation. Right? There are days I wake up where I'm like, I don't feel like hitting the gym today. Right? I don't feel like hitting this workout today. I still go. I still get the workout done. Right? And then I keep going. Right? It's one of those things that I can't rely on motivation. I can't rely on, oh man, like I watched this Arnold Schwarzenegger video and I'm all wired up. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's
Those
one
5-minute motivations, those YouTube. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you can't rely on these things,
Right.
You need to rely on what your goal is, why you're doing it, and what your structure is. Like, what do you have for today?
Yeah.
Right. And that holds me accountable every time.
Something I've been thinking a lot about is, just like we hit the gym for our physical health, and there's absolutely mental aspects to it. I think we can be more intentional about how we exercise our mental health, right? So I kind of think of it as you got a gym for your physical health. What does your gym look like for your mental health? If you're somebody who has a hard time saying no to people, right? You're a people pleaser. It's exercising those muscles in a way where you practice saying no in a kind and empathetic way, where you're protecting yourself and also protecting the relationship, right? It's being conscious and being intentional about those little things. What does your self-work look like? What is your process of being introspective and being honest and doing that self-work, right? That mental work look like?
In a few different ways. One is being humble enough to accept when I don't know things, when I need help. A lot of me is, hey, I can do it all. I can do this. I got this. I can do this, right? For me, it's one of those things like I can solve this. I can do this. But it's okay to seek help. It's okay to look for information, ask people for help, and like kind of opening up for advice, help, and things. Admitting when I'm wrong, right? Just being completely transparent about things, and just really, just being really humble when it comes to situations and interactions. What I know might not all be what's out there, and then once you keep that humility and also an open mind to things, there's a lot of room for improvement and growth.
Asking for help is a huge one.
It's big,
right?
It's big.
And I don't know if I want to say it's a guy thing in general, but
there's maybe a factor.
I think that's absolutely a factor.
Maybe a factor.
Yeah. But yeah, like we're not wired to be vulnerable or to not have the answers.
Yeah.
I mean, we started off, I introduced you as a bit of an enigma. I hope what this has done is help, people discover a little bit more about you, make you less of an enigma, right? At what point did you come up with enigma, and how did you come up with that word?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So again, we're going to get super nerdy, super dorky here.
Let's do it.
And it's going to be great. So the origin story was, there's a game called Diablo 2.
Okay.
Right? It's been around for 20 plus years. Played many, many, many hours of it competitively and non. And there's one item in the game called Enigma, composed of some of the most rarest runes, even the base armor that you need to put into. And it's hands down one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful items in the game. And then the name in itself, what it embodies, right? Like, there are so many situations and circumstances that I don't know if you've noticed this through life, and even people sometimes, you tend to see patterns. It's almost a sense of predictability on things, right? So again, being creatures of habit, we get in that routine of, I'm going to go to my 9 to 5. I'm going to come back. I'm going to open a beer. I'm going to watch the game. I'm going to go to sleep. Repeat, rinse and repeat, right? So the term enigma it's that mysterious, that unpredictable, that spontaneous, right? And it's a good reaffirmation on what I need to be doing to ever be evolving and bettering and improving is don't be predictable. Don't be habitual. Don't be in such a routine that it's detrimental for you. Be powerful, be rare, be unique, be different.
When I looked up the term enigma, mysterious came up. Another thing that came up was like difficult to understand. Yeah. And I was like, I wonder if that played a role as well.
Big time.
Okay. Interesting.
So like growing up too, and even still, people are like, you're weird. Straight up, they'll just come up and be like, you're weird, right? You're different. Being different when I was growing up was weird, and it was hard for others to accept and for me to accept for myself being the odd one out, right? But then realizing that being different is a good thing. It's powerful, right? And then embrace the difference, embrace being unique, embrace being, the way you think about things, the way you do things, the way you, the things you can achieve and set out for yourself.
Right.
It's good to be different.
One thing that always impressed me is like, you remember growing up, if we played too many video games, our parents would be just like, yo, go out and fucking, hang out with your real friends, right? But what's crazy to me is like the amount of real relationships that are being built online. I know you have a buddy of yours that you went to a wedding for, that you met online, that you built a relationship with online.
Absolutely, man.
What was that experience
Such a
like?
surreal experience.
Yeah.
So I met a bunch of friends playing this MMO back in the day, and we just spent so many hours gaming together, and we got to know each other obviously more on a personal level. Really grew tight, grew connected, different, similar interests, but yet so different in personalities. But everyone just got to hang out, right? We got to kick it. And then one year he reached out saying, hey man, like I'm gonna get married. And we're like, oh, that's so exciting. Big congratulations. Everyone was super happy for him. We celebrated in the game. And then he's like, well, I'd love to have you guys be my best men at my wedding. And we're like, no way, that's an honor. So we were all just so close and so tight, and just just hanging out virtually. We're like, this is going to be so surreal, meeting in person for the first time at his wedding. So we all flew down, really, from friends from the States went down, from Canada, from friend from Australia. Everyone just flew down to his spot, and we got to celebrate his wedding together and meeting each other in person for the first time too, right? It's like, oh man, you're taller than I thought. Oh man, so it was a very beautiful and surreal moment where we got to have these memories together, and all just came from gaming. Hanging out, getting to know each other, going through the highs, the lows, everything, just friendships, but virtual, right? So it was a very cool thing.
To me, it also sounds like a lot of the conversations that you guys are having, it's almost like therapy. It's almost therapeutic for, right, a bunch of folks to come together. Yeah, there's the game is kind of that thing that brings everyone together.
Yeah.
But y'all talking about real shit.
Talk about everything. We've gone through topics of just everything: religion, politics, personal growth, challenges, careers, like just travel. We talk about every little topic, right? So it's like a mini therapy session pretty much sometimes.
Growing up, you never necessarily you didn't want to be known as a gamer. Or you don't want to be known, right?
Yeah, so definitely.
Has that changed over time?
I mean, to a degree, yeah, for sure. I would say back then it was very much a closet gamer. Right. Everything that was considered geeky or nerdy was pretty much closet, right? From like Yu-Gi-Oh cards to like any sort of gaming, it would all just be hidden away, right? I would enjoy it, and I would make it have different friends played with them and whatnot. But it wouldn't be a flex that you'd go out and be like, hey man, what kind of gaming you do? But this day and age, it's the norm. It's the norm where everyone, if you're not a gamer, you're kind of weird, right? Everyone plays something, right? Whether it be board games, video games, card games, whatever it may be. And that's the cool thing right now, right? Where technology's advanced so much and exposure has brought out gaming into such to a global scale. Right, people now there's sports, there's esports out of it too, right? So it's huge, it's growing. People are building careers out of it. Just even streaming games, you don't even have to be good at the game. Just stream the game and have a great personality, and you have a full career based out of it. So gaming has grown so much in the last few years. It's amazing.
It's amazing. I think what is special about gaming and building relationships through gaming, there's something about in real life, right? In real life, when you're meeting somebody, you're all based on how they look, how they're dressed, where they live, what car they pull up in. There's all these things that are already playing in your subconscious before you even say a word to them, right? And that whether consciously or subconsciously, that informs your judgment or your opinion of them before you've even had a chance to interact with them. What's cool about gaming is that all gets weeded out.
All of that's out.
that's out.
Yeah.
Right? You're
All the-
purely
yeah.
bonding. I mean, they could be, I mean, anybody,
be
right?
anybody.
But you're purely bonding over a shared or a similar interest. And there's something really special about that.
Yeah. Because none of it matters, right? Like your race, your gender, your beliefs, none of
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah.
But when it comes to gaming, it doesn't matter.
No, yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
you can't bring that into the game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it nulls all of that out. And then the only thing that matters is how good you are at the game.
Yeah.
And or how well you're received from other players in the game and
Yeah.
work towards the cause. So.
Yeah. I appreciate the conversation, bro. If you had a gigantic billboard and you could say anything you want on it, metaphorically speaking, just getting your message out to millions and billions of people in the world.
Yeah.
What would you say and why?
Yeah, no, there's so many things that can be said, but I think even through the pandemic and through it all, it really emphasized one of the main messages is don't take anyone or anything for granted. The strongest people you might know might be struggling the most, right? And it's so important to really invest time, check on them. If someone comes to your mind, call them, text them, or maybe get in touch with them. See how they're doing, how their family's doing, what they're up to, and follow through with intent. And what that means is being intentional means there has to be both time and effort put in. People, family, relationships, they'll never always be there, right? So live each moment with those people that you value the most to the fullest.
That's a very beautiful message, especially during this time. I think it's something that everybody needs to hear. And the thing you mentioned about like the folks that you think in your life, the strongest ones, quote unquote, are the ones that need to be checked in on. So I think that's very important. Bro, I wanna applaud you for practicing what you preach. The intent in how you approach your relationships, the communications, the interactions. It really shows. Our friendship has grown over the years. And yeah, you're one of the people, bro, that I really, really genuinely enjoy my interactions with and I learn from every day. So
likewise.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, homie. What else you got going on? Is there anything you want to plug? What do the people got to know?
Yeah, I got 2 Instagrams. That weird guy that has one for life, all the highs mostly, where it's travel, lifestyle, things like that. And then I have the fitness one. That one's, again, personal growth, but I also keep it open to anyone who's interested in any sort of questions or help for, whether it be diet, whether it be training, whether it be, just sleep schedule, things like that, that'll help wellness overall. And then I just started a YouTube channel very, very recently. Just put up my second video yesterday. And it's going to be, again, mostly the highs on the traveling, the adventures, the activities, the moments. But I do want to get to also eventually capture the behind the scenes, maybe the lows even, where it shows, just the realness of what the situations may be, right? So,
and what's it called? Where can people find
it's
it?
just my full name.
Okay,
So
Emerson Joekumar.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you, brother. This was
Thank
fun.
you.
We'll do this again.
Likewise, bro. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Peace.